At Smith's Pharmacy, CARE is making it easy to get vaccinated. CARE is helping you stay protected from flu, COVID, and RSV. Seasonal vaccines are available 7 days a week with evening hours. CARE is giving you a shot at staying healthy this season. Walk in whenever is best and get multiple vaccines in one visit at your local Smith's Pharmacy. So come and get the protection you need while protecting those around you. Smith's, a world of care is in store. Visit smithsfoodanddrug.com/vaccines for more. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See site for details.
Welcome to the KSL Real Estate Show. Hear updates on the national and local Utah real estate markets. We cover residential and commercial properties. Plus, get inspiring ideas to make your house a home from our sponsor, Osmond Designs. Here's Heather Osmond and Jeff Caplan on KSL News Radio.
Welcome to the Real Estate Show. Thank you for listening. I'm Jeff Caplan. Heather Osmond is here from Osmond Designs. Her stores are in Lehigh and Orem, and it's fall.
It sure is, and we're having a huge sale at Osmond Designs today. We are open until 6 p.m., so it's not too late to stop by. Our entire store is an additional 20% off the lowest mark prices, and that is in addition to our already no one beats our prices on anything that we sell, and we have high-end, low-end, lots of price points in the middle with all the designer brands that you want. What I love most about our stores is that every piece is unique. We usually only bring in 1 or 2 of that specific item, and once it's gone, it's gone. So you can know that 7 of your neighbors are not going to have the same piece because you didn't buy it from a box store where they purchased 1,000 or 500 of the same thing. So definitely check out Osmond Designs today. Okay, I'm so excited to introduce Jim Alder. He's our guest on the KSL Real Estate Show today. Oftentimes on this show, if you've been listening to this, I can't believe we've been doing this for almost 4 years. I'm just saying. But if you've been listening to the show, we talk about investments, first-time home buyers, interest rates, basically accumulating real estate. But then what happens when you want to protect your real estate? We spend so much time and effort getting all of our, life savings together. Oftentimes real estate's our biggest investment. That's why we have Jim Alder on the show with us. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Thanks for having me.
He's an attorney, which can be a good thing or a bad thing, but you're a good kind of attorney.
Oh, I try to be. I always joke with people that I tell them I'm a liar. I mean a lawyer.
That's perfect. Your expertise is trust planning and family preservation.
Yeah, I actually have that on my business cards because as an estate planning attorney, we see so many families that are destroyed, relationships ruined by the division of the estate, fighting over money. And it's not always just money, fighting over stuff. We saw 4 sisters destroy their relationships with one another, fighting over their mother's hairbrush.
Wow. How disappointing.
Yeah. So our goal is to hopefully create plans that minimize that possibility, preserve those relationships if at all possible.
So how do people do that?
Create the plans. You really need to sit down with an attorney, discuss the options, what the dynamic is. It's incredibly important to understand what the assets involved are, what the dynamic of the family is, of course. If we don't know what the assets involved are, it's impossible to create a plan that's going to work. Selling a piece of paper is never going to work properly. And that's why your online approaches, they hardly ever work. Commoditizing the approach, the plan, selling hey, you got to trust online. They rarely work right. Probably 50% of the probates I do are cleaning up those types of approaches, capturing assets that didn't get into the trust. For instance, they just don't usually work because most of the work isn't done right. To make it get it done right, you need to sit down with an attorney, discuss what's involved, who's involved, get the assets into the trust properly, design the plan with the appropriate concepts and principles, the players, who's going to act in the different roles. Sometimes everybody wants to choose, hey, it's got to be the oldest child is going to serve as that successor trustee. Why? There's no reason that should be. Who's the most responsible person? Maybe it's not any of the kids. Maybe having the kids serve as a successor trustee is just going to cause a fight. Maybe a professional trustee is the best option. We need to have those discussions. What's going to be the best? Who's going to serve as the medical agent? Okay, doesn't have to be the same person as the successor trustee. In my mother's plans, as an example, I'm her successor trustee for some odd reason, but my sister is a registered nurse. So she's the medical agent. Makes sense, right?
Of course.
So, lots of different discussions that need to be had to create the plan and set it up correctly. One of the biggest mistakes that we see that causes a plan to fail is that the assets aren't in the trust, right? Oftentimes the home is there, because that's the one thing that usually gets done, a deed transferring the property into the trust, but none of the bank accounts, the investment accounts. We see IRAs, 401ks that, they're payable to one child, but there's 5 kids. And that one child is supposed to share that IRA, that $500,000 IRA with his siblings. Well, that's going to create some massive tax problems, okay? Things of that nature. Why? Because the attorney isn't having that discussion with the client. The client hasn't even disclosed the fact that the IRA exists because the questions aren't being asked. And that's the danger of the online approach typically. So you need to have those discussions, understand what's involved, what's out there, how is it going to be treated, who's going to receive it, and craft that plan from top to bottom to make it really work. One of the other big issues is that you've got to review the plan occasionally, right? You can't sit it on the shelf and never look at it again because life is going to change.
Is that a yearly review? What do you recommend?
No, it doesn't need to be yearly. We recommend at least every 3 years. That'll do the trick, right? That'll capture most changes and stay on top of things. If a client calls us every 3 years, and it can literally be just a phone call, 15 minutes, we can do it by Zoom, in person even, and we don't charge for that, just to make sure things are still intact. Maybe there's been a law that changed that affects the plans. Just a few years ago, we had a major change in how IRAs are dealt with, for instance, called the Secure Act, and we had to change a lot of clients' plans to reflect that. So we need to have that review and make sure that we stay on top of things because your assets change. You might change an investment advisor and make sure those new accounts have gotten in. People refi. That's a big one. Lenders force you to take the house out of the trust to do the financing. Did you get it back in, right? We have to do a lot of probates to capture those homes that were taken out of the trust. They didn't put it back in the trust when the refi was done. So make sure those things are you stay on top of those. Did your successor trustees pass away? Okay.
Little minor problem there.
Yeah, a lot of changes like that. Or did you have a kid go off the rails that you need to kind of address? So you gotta look at that plan occasionally, make sure it still works, it still fits. If you put it on the shelf and never look at it again, I can guarantee you it's not going to work after 10, 15 years.
For sure. This has been a hot topic in my own personal family. My sweet mom is over 70 years old, and she started talking to us about these things. And when we go visit her, she says, "What do you want in my home?" And we're all like, "Nothing. We don't want any of your stuff." But she has started making a list of her valuables and making sure that she has some say in what gets to what person. And I think that that's great because that will help all of us not have conflict later. There are clearly things, paper towels and, whatever things in the home that none of us care about. So, but there are those specific things. Maybe it's
precious paper towels.
Yeah, we don't care about those. But there's photo albums, there's scriptures, there's wedding rings and things that are very meaningful. My dad passed away just over 7 years ago, and he did, very similar thing and made sure that each of my brothers received a firefighter helmet because he was a firefighter, and an axe and things that were very meaningful to him. And I really appreciate their preparedness because it does take effort. It's usually not something anyone wants to talk about.
Yeah, it's a struggle for a lot of people to talk about some of these things. But, those discussions, even though they're hard, they really need to happen. Sometimes one of the most difficult things that we deal with is where the parent has been really close to the vest and they've failed to talk about what they own, how things are set up. And then when they pass, the kids have no idea what's going on. They don't know what the assets are. They don't know where the plans are. In fact, 52% of families don't know where their parents have their plans.
Or their bank accounts.
Yeah. But where the documents are.
Right.
So what do you do when they pass away? You don't know where to look.
Right. It's a problem.
Are you supposed to have a death document? Like, here's where everything is that you have
it's a
hidden
great
in some
idea.
corner?
Some sort of a breadcrumb trail to where do we look? Let somebody know. Have that discussion so that they can find them. It's a real issue when people start calling around. I can't find my parents' documents. I know they had a trust because it says so on the deed, the title to the home, but we can't find the documents.
Because
what do you do?
I think of my mother, and it's kind of like, well, there's a key underneath the flower on my desk behind the thing, and that key will open a safe, and if you open the safe, you'll find instructions about which cabinet drawer, and it's maddening, and I just blank out every time.
Yeah, something needs to happen. Hopefully a little easier than that, but having the discussion is real critical.
We have Jim Alder. He is with the Alder Law Group talking about trust planning and family preservation, how to keep your real estate safe and all of your other assets. You're listening to the KSL Real Estate Show. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Smith's for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Smith's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Salt Lake City will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Did you know you can get the 3 things you need to know delivered right to you? Just go to KSLNewsRadio.com, click on menu, and then newsletter.
Or go to the KSL News Radio app and you click on menu, and then it's email alerts.
This is even easier. Just text the word inbox to 57500.
Get the top national and local stories with the 3 things you need to know newsletter.
It's the story of an American held in a dark Venezuelan prison.
Then all of a sudden they all kind of lined up. They pointed their guns at me. And this is the point where I thought, I'm going to die today.
I'm Becky Bruce. I spent a year working on Hope in Darkness, which now has more than 2 million downloads. Find it on kslpodcast.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're back with the KSL Real Estate Show, sponsored by Osmond Designs on KSL News Radio.
Welcome back to the KSL Real Estate Show. Thank you for joining us. Jeff Caplan here. Heather Osmond is here from Osmond Designs. Her stores are in Lehigh and Orem. You're all primed for fall.
We sure are. We're in all of our glory there, Jeff, at the Osmond Design Store. Our goal is to help you love your home, and it doesn't have to be expensive to do that. Oftentimes, you can just add a little Fraser fir, a little pumpkin apple, or a cinnamon, and your home immediately feels different.
Is that a color or a smell?
It's a smell, Jeff, and it's incredible. And I'm going to bring one over to your home just so you can know what we're talking about on the radio show today. But they're all on sale. They're an additional 20% off. Come check them out. You're going to love it. You won't regret it. Today, we talk about lots of fun things and we keep it light, and it's always good news on the KSL Real Estate Show. But oftentimes, we have to have those tough conversations about real estate, our investments, our bank accounts, our assets. Today we've invited Jim Alder. He's with the Alder Law Group on the show with us. Welcome back.
Well, thank you.
So good to have you. We're talking about Utah trusts, trust planning, family preservation. You know, this isn't something I know a ton about, but I'm very interested. So I love that you're on the show. So, Jim, how do we use a trust to protect our assets?
Well, that's a great question because a lot of people don't understand this. It's widely misunderstood. A revocable living trust, which most people are doing to organize their estates, doesn't provide asset protection in that sense. It avoids probate, which most people are interested in, of course. But because you're the beneficiary of that trust, you reserve the right to amend it, revoke it at any time. It doesn't protect from, say, Medicaid spend down or recovery. Okay, to achieve that, protect it from Medicaid, nursing home care costs and such, you have to use an irrevocable trust. Okay, we set that up so you're not the trustee and you're not actually the beneficiary of that trust directly if you want to protect from Medicaid spend down or recovery. So you have to do a different type of trust planning, and we usually do that when you're at an age like maybe your mother or my mother, as we were discussing previously. They're in their 70s. They might be at an age where they're ready for one of the kids to start assisting with bills and helping them with things. That transition period, a little older, ready to let go, have somebody assist. That's the age when we start to do that type of planning typically. Okay, so you can't just do this, your regular revocable living trust planning and assume that that's going to protect you. Okay, you have to do different types of planning. Now, there's also domestic asset protection trust planning that we do to protect nest eggs. That's a statutory type of trust, but again, it's irrevocable. You can't have control over distributions from the trust. You're not the distribution trustee. It's not the revocable trust. So there's different types of trusts that we use for different purposes.
So, Jim, I'm sure people listening are thinking, well, I just downloaded mine off the website or a website or the internet. Why is that not a good idea?
Well, again, yeah, for some of those purposes or reasons that we talked about in the previous segments, there's a lot of different issues involved, and there's a reason we went to law school and we spent all that money and that time learning some of these different principles. You don't know what you don't know. So, having a piece of paper, it gives people a warm, fuzzy feeling. But, there's a lot of different issues you got to be aware of to make things work.
And especially if you own a lot of things. I mean,
True.
This is a lot of money that we're talking about. Definitely spend 1 hour with an experienced attorney like yourself, and let's make sure it's right.
Yeah, absolutely. I have had some of the most unfortunate experiences cleaning up messes. We've got a case going on right now where a fellow helped his dad set up a trust. Every single thing that you could have dreamed would go wrong went wrong in this situation, unfortunately. Online trust. None of the accounts, the property wasn't in the trust. All the accounts had beneficiary designations on them, so all of the distributions that were made of these different accounts weren't going to work because the beneficiary designations control who's going to receive these things. The property wasn't in the trust, so we have to do the probate. And now the siblings are objecting to the distribution and the creation of the trust. And there was properties or natural gas interests out in West Virginia. They weren't in the trust, so we've got to do an ancillary probate out there. Just a massive, massive mess that's going to cost probably tens of thousands of dollars overall to fix.
Well, and just your time, weeks, months, years of trying to figure all of that out when you can spend a couple of hours and get it correct in the meantime.
And the loss of the family relationships.
It's huge, right? Yes. It's such a big deal.
What percentage of cases do you see that happening where things go south with the family?
Well, with these do-it-yourself attempts, it's pretty high. In one situation or one set of trust, I won't identify the source, 1 out of 15 was actually going to work. Okay?
Wow.
1 out of 15 trusts was actually going to avoid probate and actually work. And now I don't know about whether the families were going to be destroyed or anything, but just 15 trusts that I've seen, 1 was actually going to work right. So that's kind of the ratio that you see because they're not set up correctly. The assets aren't in the trust, all those types of things. So it's just really not, it looks easy, it looks simple, but they just don't have a great success rate, unfortunately.
Do you ever have those cases where somebody says, I have the will, and somebody else says, but I have this will?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like
Seen
on
that
TV.
too. Yeah, yeah. It happens. It really does. It actually does.
Well, and I think it's so much more important to do it before you need it, before the medical issues arrive, before they're going on family vacation and all of those good things. Get it done while you're healthy, while you're well, and you can work out all of those details. You're listening to the KSL Real Estate Show. I'm Heather Osmond, owner of Osmond Designs Furniture and Interior Design Stores. Our guest today is Jim Alder of the Alder Law Group. He works with Utah Trusts. Thank you for being here. Stay tuned. We're going to be back in just a minute with more.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Smith's for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Smith's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Salt Lake City will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
I'm Jeff Caplan from KSL News Radio. You want to receive the latest news, traffic, and weather all in one place? All you have to do is subscribe to the KSL text line. Text the word news to 57500 and you'll get the latest news, traffic, and weather updates. Sometimes before we get them on the air. I'll catch you on the radio weekday afternoons on KSL News Radio.
It's the story of an American held in a dark Venezuelan prison.
Then all of a sudden they all kind of lined up. They pointed their guns at me. And this is the point where I thought, I'm going to die today.
I'm Becky Bruce. I spent a year working on Hope in Darkness, which now has more than 2 million downloads. Find it on kslpodcast.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome to the KSL Real Estate Show. Hear updates on the national and local Utah real estate markets. We cover residential and commercial properties. Plus, get inspiring ideas to make your house a home from our sponsor, Osmond Designs. Here's Heather Osmond and Jeff Caplan on KSL News Radio.
Welcome. This is the Real Estate Show. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jeff Caplan. Heather Osmond is here from Osmond Designs. Her stores are in Lehigh and Orem.
Yes, they are. And I love talking about how to make your home pretty and beautiful and somewhere you love to be. However, oftentimes we have to have hard conversations on this show as well. We talk about investments, both commercial and residential, but we also need to have those conversations about how to protect our investments, not only for ourselves, but for those that we love, our parents, our siblings. It really is a family affair. Today we have Jim Alder on the show with us. He believes family relations are ultimately more precious and important than the wealth that we accumulate. It is his experience that great planning is the best insurance and that death of a parent will not destroy the family unit. He provides efficient mechanisms to manage his clients' affairs. Jim, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, you're welcome. Glad to be here.
Okay, so what is Trust Planning 101?
Well, Estate Planning 101. Did you know that everyone has an estate plan? Everybody does. We don't realize that. We have an estate plan by default, the probate code. Okay.
Why is probate so awful?
Well, it doesn't have to be. We have plenty of probates that aren't. It has that bad rep.
Well, I don't even know what probate is, but I know it's really bad.
Yeah.
It's a swear word in this industry.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. It has that bad reputation because you hear of the negative stories. It destroys families. It can take long. It can a long time. It can be very costly. It can go sideways, but it doesn't have to be.
So my understanding is it's just for people that are unprepared, and then you have to go through the court system to be able to get your assets. Is that generally what it is?
It is the judicial process of administering the estate of a decedent, right?
Got it.
Okay, that's basically what it is. But everyone has an estate plan in the form of the probate code. If we die without making plans of our own, the probate code informs us as to what is going to happen with our estate. Our kids, our spouse or our kids have the priority to be our personal representative, the executor of our estate. And, our spouse, if it's a first marriage, will inherit our estate, or our kids in equal shares, or so forth, right? A will is simply a roadmap for that probate process. It's an opportunity to say, well, I want something else to happen. I don't want that basic plan, that default plan. I might want my estate to be distributed unequally. I want this kid to get more. I want it to go to charity. I want my pet to get everything. Okay?
You might want to be nice to your parents,
Okay,
you guys.
does that really happen?
Well, yeah. Wasn't it Leona Helmsley, right? Wasn't that the name that left a $10 million to her dog?
You're right. You're right.
It does happen, and we do pet trust planning. We do that. We send up lots of plans, clients that leave sums for the care of
pets. Is it for the care of the pet, not just like, here's a couple million?
I haven't left a couple of million for any pets, no. But, we've had clients leave $10,000, $20,000 for care of pets on a pretty regular basis.
Which sounds really rational, honestly.
Yeah, in fact, just today I made a number of posts in networking groups about planning for pets. It's a real thing. And we're actually offering a pet trust at a function that we're a member of. My wife does Intermountain Therapy Group. One of our dogs, she goes visits the hospitals, and we're donating a pet trust for that organization to auction.
Well, pets are oftentimes children.
Yeah. Ours are.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just don't leave them enough that they want to take you out.
Right. But yeah, a will is just an opportunity to say, I want this to happen instead of what the probate code does. So it's a roadmap for the probate process. Many people believe that wills allow you to avoid probate, but no, it requires probate to implement it. Okay? So it's just a roadmap. So a trust is a mechanism to hopefully avoid the probate process. We're creating an entity that holds our assets. And, so assets aren't titled in our name. We're the manager, the trustee of that entity. When we die, we've designated somebody else to take over management, the successor trustee. So that successor trustee steps in and follows the directions that have been laid out there and distributes as we've directed, okay? So we don't have to go through the probate process. Now, probate can be ugly because there's really, it's very easy for somebody to step in and object. It doesn't cost anyone a dime to lodge an objection, to foul up the process, because everyone gets notice of the probate. All the kids get notice of the probate. And if they don't like who's being appointed as the personal representative, they just say, I object. And you're into formal probate and mediation right off the bat. And the costs start going skyrocketing, and they didn't spend a penny.
Do you feel like there's always one child? Is there just one person in every family that always has to cause the problems?
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Smith's for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Smith's, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Guys, did you know your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED? And right now, Revive Men's Health Salt Lake City will check your testosterone for free. They've helped thousands of men since 2011 feel and perform better. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Schedule your free testosterone test, exam, and consultation today. Call 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777. Or visit ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
I'm Dave Cawley, investigative journalist and host of the podcast Cold. In October of 1985, a woman named Cherie Warren left work at a busy Salt Lake City office
to meet her estranged husband at a downtown auto dealership.
She never made it home. Cherie's car surfaced weeks later in Las Vegas.
In the parking lot of a hotel casino.
No one knows how it got there.
Strange. It was strange.
Both Cherie's estranged husband and her boyfriend raised suspicion for investigators.
I kind of thought that he might have done something.
But no arrests were ever made. In Cold Season 3, we dig into double lives, make new connections in the case, and examine the difficulty raised by reasonable doubt.
We want answers just as much as anyone else.
They have creeps like that now too, so nothing's changed.
That's the new Cold Season 3, The Search for Cherie, now available anywhere you get your podcasts.
Frequently.
Frequently, right? And if you don't know who that person is in your family, it might be you. So
it's the one that has been pampered and given everything all the time, babied. It's that.
Wow, that's so deep.
Right?
Do we really even want to go there? Back to estate planning 101.
This is a different show for a therapy session later.
But that tends to be the case. What's really also funny is the firearms. They disappear overnight.
Whoa.
Before Dad's even dead, they're gone. And you know who takes them? The felon.
Really?
The gold bullion in the safe, it's gone.
Yeah,
they're hard to track.
I could see this.
Those assets,
Totally.
the silver bullion, the coins. Because
the jewelry?
Yeah. Not so much the jewelry, but if there's silver bullion or gold bullion in the safe, that stuff disappears and you can't track it. Yeah, it's really hard to manage.
And so resentment runs high instantly from the very beginning.
Yeah, but the firearms, that stuff disappears, and it's always the felon that runs off with them.
Wow. Yeah. Ooh, that's hard. You better hope that you have trustworthy siblings.
Yeah. So those are fun. But the will is just that roadmap. The trust is a mechanism to avoid it, and probate gets its bad rap because it's just so easy to foul up the process and start costs running up really easy, fast, and it just destroys those family relationships so quickly and easily. And hopefully, if we've got that great trust plan in place, we can keep the family out of the probate, provide a mechanism to get things administered easily, quickly, keep the tensions down, keep the disputes to a minimum, and hopefully preserve those relationships.
If you do a will that doesn't have any trusts in it, just I leave this percentage to this kid, this percentage to that kid, can that be challenged, or does that sail through?
It can be challenged, yeah. But what's the basis for the challenge? They've got
Dad liked me more. That's the basis.
Yeah, well, that isn't going to go far. But the problem is it doesn't stop the challenge. Anybody can bring the challenge, and they're not prohibited or stopped from bringing it, and the costs go up. But ultimately, are they going to succeed? Probably not. They've got to have some reason, some justification. Was there incapacity? Was there coercion? Undue influence or something? Those are really hard to prove, but it doesn't stop them from bringing the challenge. And that's one of the reasons you want to stay out of probate. If trust is used, then they've got to fund that fight. They've got to find an attorney and pay somebody to bring that fight, and that discourages the fight oftentimes.
Yeah.
Okay. Whereas in the will-based approach, they don't have to spend a penny to start that fight.
I've always wondered, is it best to put one person in charge of medical and one person in charge of all the finances? Is it better to have two people in charge of each of those? Is it better to have, one child involved, maybe each individual child is over a different category.
Well, again, it probably comes down to those are those discussions we need to have, in planning the design of the plan. Who is appropriate for those decisions, like in my mother's plan, as we discussed. But, sometimes two people is better. Not always. I don't like to get have any more than two people in charge. We start to run into problems with banks, financial institutions. They don't like to deal with multiple trustees. We've had banks refuse to deal with 3 trustees, in fact.
Wow.
So we don't like to get more than that. But sometimes it is appropriate. Blended families, for instance, having one from each side of the family so that, there's representation from both sides in a joint trust. That can be a good solution. But, it depends on the situation. But again, a professional trustee can be a good resolution to maintain order and resolve disputes sometimes. Just depends. So we got to have those conversations and figure out what's the best approach is, who are the right people, what are the skills involved. Sometimes kids don't have the proper skill set or, the demeanor necessary to manage these types of situations.
Oh, for sure. And just knowing where your talents lie is very, very important. I've always wondered if maybe that one person doesn't want to be in charge.
That's
right?
That's an issue too.
That's a whole other issue.
That is an important discussion too.
What happens at that point? Is it, well, you're in charge, you don't get a choice in the matter?
They don't have to serve. They can resign.
Oh,
they can decline to serve.
Wow.
We've had that happen.
Okay. Yep. And then you just choose someone else?
It passes on to the next named person.
Okay.
And if nobody wants to serve, well, then we've got to go through some process to get somebody else appointed.
Yeah, get a third party involved. Maybe sometimes that's even easier because it's all the emotions are gone.
Yeah.
And it's just a lot clearer.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, great. We have Jim Alder. He's with the Alder Law Group. Today we're talking about Utah trust planning, family preservation, making sure that, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail is the general idea here. So
yes.
Get caught up if you have not created your own family trust in your will or your parents, nudge them. Let's make sure that we are all prepared and that things are handled correctly how you would like them to be while you're healthy and well. You're listening to the KSL Real Estate Show. I'm Heather Osmond, owner of the Osmond Designs Furniture and Interior Design Stores. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We're back with the KSL Real Estate Show, sponsored by Osmond Designs on KSL News Radio.
Welcome back to the Real Estate Show. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Jeff Caplan. Heather Osmond is here from Osmond Designs. Her stores are in Lehigh and Orem.
Yes, they are. And it's such a great time to do some nesting. Get ready for winter that's just right around the corner. Most of us have plans for family and friends to be either coming to our home or maybe we're traveling to their home for the holidays. So make sure that your dining table is updated and it's beautiful and your fireplace mantles and you have that wreath on the front door and you have those incredible aromas in your home of, pumpkin pie and Fraser fir if you're not a baker, just making sure your home is warm and cozy and somewhere that you love to be is more important than ever. During this time, we get to talk about a lot of interior design ideas, how to make your home beautiful, real estate investing, not only commercial, but also residential. But we don't often talk about how to preserve these things. And tax planning, trust planning, family preservation is our topic for today. We have Jim Alder on the show with us. He's Alder Law Group, and it has been such a treat to have you and so important, so necessary for all of us. I think the last thing that I want as a mom is for my kids to be fighting over my things when I pass away.
Oh, absolutely. We see so many families torn apart, by these types of issues, and it doesn't always happen after death. We do a lot of guardianship work too, and we've seen families destroyed fighting over mom and dad's care, before they die, as they've become incapacitated due to a stroke or dementia. and they start fighting over the stuff at that point in time too. So trust planning. This is also a kind of a neglected aspect of it. Is a good trust plan should be your incapacity management mechanism as well. Okay, so it should focus on that, keep you out of guardianship, and make sure your estate, you individually, can be managed if you can't do it yourself, but also how things should be distributed. But if we've got that plan in place, we want to make sure that it keeps that family preserved, keeps those relationships preserved, and minimizes that destruction that occurs when that everybody starts fighting over how things are going to be done, who's going to be in control, how are things going to be distributed. It's so sad to see those relationships destroyed. We just had a client come in a couple of weeks ago, and that was their main concern as they sat down with me, that they already see the signs that the kids are starting to bicker, they're starting to quarrel, and it seems to be focused on one piece of property. What are they going to do to stop this, to prevent this from happening? And, I immediately said, let's use a professional trustee. Okay, this is probably going to be the first step, because who's going to serve as the trustee is going to provoke the first fight. It seemed like. So let's go there, head that off. And they went, oh, that's an awesome idea. So there's some things we can do to try and prevent that, stop that from happening, hopefully. But maintaining those relationships is our ultimate goal.
I think so as well. I'm at the age where I'm getting older, and I've accumulated a lot of, probably most of the assets that I will have in my life, and making sure that they are maintained and correctly in trust, like you're saying. Oftentimes you don't know what you don't know. And just listening to this show and talking with you today has been so valuable, I think, not only for myself, but for all of our KSL friends. So thank you so much. Also, I want to give a shout out to Central Bank. They are trusted bankers and loyal friends of the KSL Real Estate Show. They've been serving Utah for over 130 years. They offer savings plans. They offer checking accounts, auto loans, real estate loans, construction loans. Check them out. Thank you, Central Bank, for your support of our community. They are safe and secure, and we love them. They've helped me create my own business, Osmond Designs. I couldn't have done it without them believing in my business, so thank you again. You're listening to the KSL Real Estate Show. Jim Alder, Alder Law Group. Please reach out to him this week. We'll be back again next week.
At Smith's Pharmacy, CARE is making it easy to get vaccinated. CARE is helping you stay protected from flu, COVID, and RSV. Seasonal vaccines are available 7 days a week with evening hours. CARE is giving you a shot at staying healthy this season. Walk in whenever is best and get multiple vaccines in one visit at your local Smith's Pharmacy. So come and get the protection you need while protecting those around you. Smith's, a world of care, is in store. Visit smithsfoodanddrug.com/vaccines for more. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See site for details.